Welcome back to another episode of the One-on-One podcast. My name is Josh. I am sitting here in the studio in cold Southern California. At least cold for us, with Ryan Esteban. And then also joined by Kathy Baker and a couple other people who I'll introduce in 1 second, who you guys have all met before. Before I do, Kathy and Ryan, we are a few days away from the Super Bowl. Are you both excited?
No.
I know Ryan's not. I mean, we can, yeah, Ryan, yeah. Kathy, are you excited?
I'm excited about the food and the bourbon.
Okay. So that was you're leading up to my question. Keep going.
Okay. But I will say, and it'll lead into this topic too. You have to look at a Saquon Barkley, who is just absolutely precious. And the question I have for you guys is it the difference of teammates and synergy of a team and coaching ability that he's performing at the level he's performing versus what he did for the Giants?
I'll let Ryan answer.
That was great.
It was.
Well done. I like how it's going to segue into today's episode. I think so. So I play a lot of fantasy football, and Saquon Barkley was one of my first picks this year, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of uncertainty about him going to the Eagles. Was he going to be able to produce there with the lack of help that he had with the Giants? And I do think, to your point, Kathy, that you can be this really great person, but if you don't have that kind of supporting cast, that team around you, you're only going to go so far. It's literally Saquon carried the Giants for all those years. Now he's at this place. He's playing even better, mm-hmm. and he's got a really, really good supporting cast. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of the Super Bowl this year, but I will root against the Chiefs.
Everything Ryan said, I agree with, and I also am rooting for the Eagles. But that is not my question. My question, which I'm going to ask you two and our other two guests, what is your favorite Super Bowl snack and or beverage?
Oh, boy.
Ooh. Kathy, you kind of teed it off, so obviously yours is bourbon and something.
Is Ryan going to edit me out if I say bourbon and balls? Bourbon and meatballs?
I'm not touching this. I'm not touching this episode. It's good.
That's a good one. I like that.
Okay.
Ryan?
Honestly, every time we have Super Bowl parties and stuff, somebody brings deli sandwiches because you can get a bunch of them, whether it's Costco or another shop. And I usually don't eat those. And those are great to have. Those are the only times I really eat it. And any alcohol. I'll take any alcohol.
I feel like my answer is just as boring. I just like an old-fashioned, just a well-made charcuterie board that you can just graze all day. Yeah, that's my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, because you're just snacking the entire day.
And it's right there in front of you. It's an arm's reach. That's probably my favorite thing. I just did that for championship weekend this past weekend. All right, I'm going to introduce one person, and then I'm going to let her introduce our next person. Karry, and I apologize every time I have you on here because I always screw up your last name. Azarabadi.
You nailed it.
There we go.
Got it. How are you, Karry? It's good to see you again.
You too. Great to be on. Thank you for having me. And yeah, we have a kind of a special guest who's been on before.
She has. Yep.
With other topics, but she's somebody I just kind of met with this week because of a person that just got certified with the mentor certification. And of course, Jacqui is one of those owners and one of those amazing women who really boost up everybody that is in her office, including this particular mentor who just got certified, who is exceptional. And so I wanted to kind of have, and I mentioned this to Kathy, I wanted to kind of have Jacqui on here just to talk about how successful her mentor program is and kind of how she structures it. Because I think it's a little bit different than many of our offices that we have. And I'd love to not only touch people who are interested in being mentors, but also touch those that maybe are running offices, whether they're brokers, owners, managers, and maybe trying to figure out a way to structure their mentor program. I think Jacqui has some pretty incredible insight on that and is doing it the way that if I think Kathy and I had a book to say, here's how you should do it, I think that Jacqui definitely does that. So Jacqui Luberto, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, just in case they missed you on the last one?
Well, that is very sweet of you. What a great introduction. And if y'all want to write that book, let me know. We'll put it on the board. I love that idea. Well, I'm a broker owner in the Florida Panhandle. So the Destin, Pensacola, Panama City Beach market. I've been a broker owner with Realty ONE Group since 2020. We currently have 5 locations spanning that area, and we have 172 agents. We keep about a 25% metric of people in the mentorship program. We don't want to get too high in that number. So we actually scale back our reach out to brand new agents if we get too high. We don't want to be disingenuous and lead people down a path of, we can teach you everything when we may not have the assets to actually do that, right? Mm-hmm. So we always want to be genuine with what we can offer. And when the market's a little faster moving, we'll open that door a little bit more. But I think it's important to talk about how we got to where we are. When we opened, my husband and I did not have a team. It's really just me and him. I had an assistant and a transaction coordinator, and we opened the door. Yeah. The day the governor shut the state down in Florida due to COVID. Shocking. Yeah. So we really didn't know what was going to happen. I think we all remember how terrifying that moment was, especially with related to real estate and can we even go show houses? And it was all just very, very weird. So we got very busy very fast. People were knocking on the door literally to come into Realty ONE Group in our market. So I was the mentor for those agents. And we started by having 1 hour long meetings each week with one-on-one with each person in the mentorship program. You can imagine that did not last long. I was like, oh no, I have no time at all. So we started doing a weekly meeting every Wednesday at 9 a.m. And we invited the new agents and the old agents, experienced agents to all join in that meeting every week. After a year and a half of that, my experienced agents were like, you're really just doing too much. We can't be expected to be here, and the information is kind of redundant because the new agents need to hear it. And that was just like a red flag to me, like, I'm doing this wrong. Let's step back and look at it again. Something's not hitting right for all of my agents. So that was when I really decided to separate out brokerage level training from mentorship training. And I had an agent who really was just honestly rising to the top, just organically and naturally. And I think that if you're a broker owner and you're thinking of separating that out so that you can focus on larger brokerage tasks, you need to look at that agent who's already doing that work, because she already was. She was taking all those calls and filtering for me. And so I reached out to her, I explained what I wanted to do and how I wanted to structure it. I showed her the Rev Up training that you guys have put together, which is amazing. No notes, it's perfect. And said, can you take this and turn it into a weekly program? And she said, absolutely. And she started running with it. We got a lot of people into that program, so we needed to add a second one. But I decided to make my first one my primary. So she's kind of the head of the triangle. So she runs the program. I have a one-to-one relationship with her, and she is the mentor for the mentors. So we currently only have one under her, but we just finished we finished 2 through the official Realty ONE Group mentorship certification program, and the third one's about to start. So as soon as she's done, my primary mentor will have 2 under her, and they'll each start to build out their own pods based on location. So I would just quickly say, if you're someone who is, with Realty ONE Group and you're an agent and you're kind of thinking, maybe I can do more, maybe I want to do more, go to your broker and say, let me teach a couple of classes and take some stress off of you, because that will mean the world to them. And it'll really show your ability to lean in, become an educator. And that's the first step that we need to see before you ask for that program. So I feel like I've said a lot.
Well, Josh, and just, I think that, and Kathy, we this is kind of what we see, like the way you started. This is kind of the progression that happens. Now, that time frame from when you first open the doors and you're doing it all as a broker owner, to get from that to where kind of you're at now could vary, of course, depending on the market. But, that's one of the things, Kathy, that One Coaching's tried to do is we've tried to kind of create some things to set up a hierarchy, if you will, I guess. I mean, you could call it that, to really have the opportunity to leverage it off to somebody else who you trust and who could do it right. Right, Kathy?
Yeah, and I don't want to wear out with it, with us being just pre Super Bowl. Not everyone's a sports fan, but the analogy, even though, guys, we didn't plan this, we didn't have any conversation before. But Josh and Ryan, if you look at what Jacqui just explained, it's really, she's that head coach, and she's got a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator, and they've got talent under that. Yeah. So I want to just pause one moment to say, man, Jacqui Luberto is one of my heroes. And the reason I say that, and I've said this sincerely multiple times, and I've said it to her, she is one of those few superstar players that came off the field, came off the court, and transitioned into leadership. And that sounds so easy. It's not. It's very hard. Don't you agree, Karry? And she really has been so coachable in calling and saying, what do I do with this? And what do I do with that? And then doing it. So this whole analogy, and I appreciate that, Jacqui, because we look at the performance. I mean, 2024 was a shitty year, just a tough year, as tough as the Eagles playing in the snow. Who did they play in the snow a couple of weeks ago in the playoff? And they couldn't even see the lines, but they knew the game well enough that they could perform. Right. It wasn't just the goalpost. They knew the lines. Jacqui knows the profession well enough. She also realized that she and Matt didn't have the bandwidth to be everything to everyone. And that's what this mentor model, and Karry's been wholeheartedly responsible for much of the success of this program. But the mentor program and the new agent program is turning national stats on its head. We know the churn rate is horrible with new agents. We know 2024 was playing in the snow, and you've really championed this. So yeah, great job, Jacqui.
Well, I commend you too, Jacqui, for having the courage to empower someone else and step back a little bit and let them run with it. And I know, of course, you've probably paid a ton of attention to it, and you've kind of set the guideline and the checklist and the process, and then to let Ashley run with it with your supervision, that's hard to do from an owner's perspective, I think.
It is. And, to Kathy's point as well about being able to transition from one to the other, I will speak directly to brokers right now who are saying, but I can't let go of that. I can't get to that next step. It's a flip of a switch from where you're recruiting buyers and sellers and how you handle your process with a buyer, and you make sure your listing presentation is perfect. And then you add in a TC when you get busy. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just paying attention to those red flags in your business and saying, oh, this is when I need to add that in, or this is where I need to restructure. It's all there, and it's all the same, just with different players.
And when you say,
go ahead, Karry. No, go ahead, Karry. You're good.
I was just going to say, I think the hardest part of all of this and the empowerment and the stepping back and all of that is finding the right person. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. If that person doesn't come along organically, kind of like it did for you, Jacqui, that process might be hard, and you might be stuck as a broker owner or a manager in that role longer than you would hope to. Mm-hmm. But I think it's important, and I hope you guys all agree, and I'd love your input on this, is it's important to find the right person, because if you don't, it could really cause some chaos that could be irretrievable at times.
Definitely be willing to step back in and say, I don't think this is going the way that I want it to. Mm. I think you have to be, I'm a huge fan of Gary V, and he talks about, you don't need to be good at hiring because everybody sucks at it. You need to be really good at firing. Yeah. And take your ego out of it. And I don't mean that as in you fire your mentor, but don't tie your ego into that hire, tie your ego into continued leadership, continued restructure. Say, this is where I excel, is getting that person to be as productive as they can. And it's the same as taking an agent and putting them into high production. When you're doing one-on-one coaching, you're taking this agent and building their leadership skills. You just have to speak to what they need help with.
I have a question for you, Jacqui. How, you've been doing this for, you said since 2020, so 5 years. What are some, like key traits, personality types that you look for, with some of your team members where you think like, okay, she might be good to be able to help me with this part of the mentor program, or he has a really good strength in this. Like, what are some things that you're looking for?
Willing to speak up in those group meetings. Most of our agent meetings are mastermind style. So I'll go around the room, because what good is it for me to teach how to close a condo if no one has a condo buyer, right? Yeah. So we always do this. Tell me what you think. How would you handle this situation? Creating the open environment for conversation about what's really happening for the agents in real time. You'll always see what agent has good answers, not always right, but good, totally. Right? Willing to jump in and be coachable, like Kathy said, and be willing to say, hey, I want to do more. And I don't think you always even hear the words, but you can see those actions when you're paying attention. You'll see those people who want to do more.
Yeah. And I know you have the skill set for it of being able to see that ability, that skill in your own agents. Kathy, I'd love for you to maybe talk about what Jacqui just said a little bit about being coachable, because I think that's a skill set in and of itself that people don't realize.
It is, and we want to be learners and not lecturers. And I think when you step into an ownership role, you put on this cape that you don't necessarily have to wear. I think one of the things about being coachable is realizing, number one, that you don't know it all, that you need help, being okay saying, I'm a little bit over my head here, and being willing to leverage a couple of things. People make the mistake, and I've seen this over and over, of trying to hire themselves and saying, I want somebody that thinks like me. I want somebody that's going to teach like me or mentor like me. Hire your opposite. Now, you need to have fundamental beliefs. You need to have the same core values. But don't feel like I've got to replace me. No, the beauty of leveraging is, if I'm head coach and I'm not that great at offense, I've got a great offensive coordinator. Yeah. So I've got somebody that is going to listen to me. And I love that branching down of, I want to go back and make sure people don't miss that really she's coaching the coach to a coach who is coaching coaches to coaches who are coaching talent.
Say that five times fast.
And that's really success. It brings me to a book, and I just pulled it off my bookshelf. It's by Arthur Brooks, and Mike Clear recommended it to me a couple of years ago because I'm old, maybe. But the book is From Strength to Strength. And it's a great book about this. It's about, okay, if I'm in a different chapter of my life, how do I pour what I know into others? And that's what the mentor program is giving that next generation of realtor the ability not to have so many bruises and not to have so many broken arms and legs, and to be Saquon Barkley, to say, buddy, just let me give you the ball and run with it. Yeah. We're going to clear the way. You're going to have to be savvy, and you're going to have to think on your own, but let the team surround you and let the team support you. It's not, real estate is not, I mean, we talk about solopreneurs and we talk about, people being real entrepreneurs. Real estate's a team sport.
Mm-hmm.
And a contact sport too.
Oh,
I mean, if we really wanted, I feel like we've beat this analogy to death, but the strategy behind a group, I don't even want to, I'm going to sound ignorant. I'm going to let Ryan jump in on this because he knows more about football than me, but like the strategy behind winning a game with the amount of coaches that have to come together and the amount of players that have to come together and all be on the same page is insane to me. And Jacqui, you've built this form of it in your business. And I know Kathy and Karry, that was the whole purpose of the One Mentor certification program. And so we've heard, Jacqui, like you've created this and it's working very well in your market, despite what the whole industry is looking like. Karry, can you maybe, for those that haven't listened to our previous episode about the certification program or haven't been on onecoaching.com yet, can you maybe, before we jump off, give like a 30-second bird's eye view of what someone can expect when they join the One Mentor certification program?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to start with, the local offices kind of creating a mentor program similar to what Jacqui has. And typically when I said earlier that most of the programs that we see across our network really is the owner or the manager at that. And then, they're the ones coaching the coaches or coaching the mentors. And then, that's how it's trickling down. So for Jacqui to have that person, that point person at the top that she can leverage all that off to and let them kind of run with it is great. So that leaves more room for additional mentors. And back to your point, Josh, where it's like, how do you recognize the personalities? And really, anybody can be a mentor if it's something they're passionate about, because you can connect people with like-minded personalities potentially if you get to know everybody the way you can. So don't think if you're interested in being a mentor out there, don't think you have to, like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if my personality works. We all know that there's a million different personalities out there, and those people are becoming agents, and those agents need to connect with somebody who's similar to them. So I think anybody can be a mentor. And again, creating the mentor certification program, Jacqui's top, mentor, she's been doing this for a long time, and she just got certified. And it's taking all that expertise and really just putting kind of a stamp on it, right, yeah. Jacqui? I mean, that's kind of the goal.
I definitely wanted to speak to that because she was a mentor with us for a couple of years before we finally got her through the program, due to her schedule and the release of the program. The difference is so amazing. It's I wouldn't say corralling, but it helps put that fine point on it, right? It helps pull together all of these different ideas and thoughts of, oh, I could do this or I could do this, and kind of left alone. I think we all do that. We let our mind wander and we go. This helps solidify what the plan is and why we do what we do and how the organization helps and how to keep it from being repetitive. The program was so good and we're so appreciative.
Thank you, Jacqui. We appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying is, like, anybody out there who's interested in becoming a mentor can participate in this. I think the first step, Josh, would be talk to your broker owner or your manager, see kind of feel it out. Like, is this something, A, is there already a program in place? B, is there room for more mentors? C, would I have an opportunity here? And then register, go to onecoaching.com. Click on the mentor certification. It gives you information, and then you can register and then participate. And it's a phased approach. It's a 3-phase approach. So the first phase is 2 4-hour workshops. Second phase is they actually attend Rev Up Rapid Launch, which is our new agent program, so that they can kind of see how to teach it, the really important information that they need to grab on that to pass down to their mentees. They get a ton of materials and all of that. So they're going to kind of audit that just to kind of see what the mentee needs to be learning. Yeah. And then the third phase is they're going to work with a mentee apprentice side by side, have them, learn everything that they did in the workshop and with Rapid Launch, and have their mentee apprentice at least finish one transaction under their guidance with all the information that they learned in the workshop and otherwise. And then we get to meet, and the broker owner, Jacqui, you've played a big role in being a part of that and just supporting your mentor that's finalizing everything. And then they get their badge and their certificate, and they're fully certified. And we promote them and all of that. So we're really proud of it. I think this program is a game changer for a lot of people, not only those that want to be mentors, but of course, the office owners and managers who want to really create a great program.
Totally. I want to frame the entire conversation before I let you all go. So I'm going to start with Ryan. Chiefs or Eagles this Sunday?
Eagles.
Karry?
Can I just root for food?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm rooting for.
And they never gave us their favorite food.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you never... Okay, stop.
Yeah.
Let's... Okay.
I'm chips and dips, wings, and I love all the different kinds of sliders.
Kind of dip though.
What kind of dip?
Kind of dip.
Like a French onion dip, like a guac, like a
I love the
salsa.
French onion dip. I also love the buffalo chicken dip.
Yep.
I also
Okay.
love a good 7-layer dip.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And I'm equal opportunity dip girl.
7-layer dip. I like that. Okay, Jacqui, what about you?
I am the cheese board. Like I
Oh
want
yeah,
cheese.
I saw your
okay,
face when I
on
said
my
it.
wall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I want cheese at every turn. Every time I walk by.
That's how I am.
Little
That's
cheese.
exactly how I am.
And Jackie's a and, not an or.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. For those that are listening, those that are watching, go to onecoaching.com, check out the mentor certification program and everything else that's on there. I mean, you can see Jackie's success story and so many others in our network. Yeah, everyone enjoy the Super Bowl, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the One-on-One podcast, powered by Realty ONE Group. For more information, questions, or concerns, please reach out to coaching@realtyonegroup.com.